There's something special about opening fragrances, isn't there? There's definitely something in that. Oh, that is beautiful. So I get a lot of inspiration from both city environments and rural environments and beach environments. So the chase is what it's all about. Remember, we're going on this journey together. Welcome back to the channel. It's me, Brendan. I am the Time and Scent Collector. And in this episode, we're going to be doing another Time and Scent talk. And I come to you again from the terrace here. It's a nice day in the morning, a little bit chilly, hence why I've got the body warmer on. And I want to go through a few things. I've got a few updates for you. So firstly, I'm on a morning coffee. And this one, it's a beautiful coffee, is a coffee that was gifted to me in Milan by my friend from Costa Rica. The brand is Cafe Brit. I guess that works because, you know, I'm British. And this one is a Costa Rican blend, Montecillo Cafe de Terrazzo. I think he told me it's a fruity blend, and I get that in this coffee. I'm not a coffee expert, I'm not at all, but I do recommend this brand. I've been enjoying this particular blend. And if you are a coffee nerd, comment below with some of the brands that you recommend, because I'm getting into it more and more and more. I like to brew a nice coffee on a morning. I don't have a lot of caffeine in the afternoon because it keeps me up at night, but I'm definitely enjoying the journey. So a quick agenda for today. Got loads to go through with you. I'm going to give you an update on some of my pickups. I've got some fragrance unboxings to do with some incredible fragrances that I think you're really going to love. I'm going to take you through some travel plans that I have coming up in the next few months, some cities and places that I'm going to be visiting. And then I want to discuss something to do with watches and fragrances combined. So let's get into it. As always, a watch check. I have today got on my Cartier Santos two-tone. I bought this watch last year from a dealer here in Barcelona. Look how slim and elegant that piece is. It's a 1980s and it's the original Santos design, and a classic piece. Moves nicely on the wrist like this. This is a watch that I would have never, ever have worn a few years ago. It would have just been too small. I would have seen it as almost too feminine. Now I just think it's a beautiful piece of jewelry. And this particular example is pretty much flawless. I didn't get box or papers with it, but that age of Cartier, it just doesn't happen. You buy the dealer. I'm going to be doing another video on how to not get scammed when you're buying pre-owned watches and watches in general. But the number one lesson is buy the dealer. Really enjoying this piece. And then I'm going to finish the video with, let's call it story time. I want to tell you a story that I find really impactful for me on my journey, and I think it might be good for you as well. Another thing I want to share with you today is this book. It's called Flow. It's by, I'm going to try to pronounce this and I might butcher it, so please do ruin me in the comments. It's by a psychologist called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and it's all about happiness and getting into flow states. And instead of just grinding and driving all the time, try to do more flow things in your life. If you are somebody that works a lot of hours, if you've got lots going on in your life, I think probably we all have at the moment, I do think this book will help you. It's nearly 300 pages, but it's actually not that difficult to read. And it's a really good book. I enjoyed it. Also, if you haven't gathered by now, if you've watched a few of my videos, I basically live almost on the flight path into Barcelona airport. So whenever I seem to do my videos, it's like rush hour. So you probably see or hear some planes. You might even see one going across the screen. You never know. But apologies if the audio comes in and you hear planes in the video. All right, so we've talked coffee, we've talked watches, we've talked reading. So let's get into the main content of today's video, which is unboxing some serious heavy-hitting fragrances. Can't wait for this. Let's do it. This is a really good coffee, I have to say. Love that. So today's unboxings are brought to you by Roja Perfumes and L'Absolu. And I'll give you a bit of background on this. This fragrance is Burlington 1819, I have been looking out for this fragrance for a couple of years now. I do know the fragrance. I have smelt it before. I haven't had it for a while. And this brand, L'Absolu, I've actually got 2 more as well, 2 more smaller ones. I picked these 3 up in Milan. I was at Essence and L'Absolu. I stumbled upon them. I went to their lab and their hotel, the first ever fragrance hotel, and really, really impressed with their fragrances. So I'm going to unbox these 3. I have smelt them, but it's been a while. So we're kind of revisiting them together today. So let's begin with Roja. So here's the story. When I look out for fragrances, I have a list and I'll keep checking the main sites to see if they do deals on fragrances. And this fragrance is a beautiful summery mint fragrance. I'm going to give you first impressions today, and then I'll do a more detailed review in a few weeks' time. And I saw a deal on Notino where it was probably 150 euros off, which is a great deal on a Roja fragrance. Cheaper to have it delivered to me in Barcelona than to go into the UK and pick it up in the UK. So let's get into this thing. Let's get it open. There's something special about opening fragrances, isn't there? There's definitely something in that. So as always with Roja, really nice, smart presentation. Let's see if I can get this thing open. Comes in a beautiful box, and there is the fragrance itself in a stunning bottle. So this fragrance, Burlington 1819, is created originally anyway for their opening of their new store in the Burlington Arcade in London. And as I understand, they launched this in late 2019, just going into COVID, and actually had to launch it online only with a sort of presentation from Roja Dove himself. And apparently they sold out of every single piece in the first couple of weeks or days even, something like that. Really great brand. And Roja is absolutely one of my top few brands that I love. Something special about a Roja fragrance. They're super classy, and I just love the brand. There's a British connection there. There's an elegance and a style connection there. I don't know what it is, but this is a great, great fragrance. Let's give it a sniff. So I've got my card here to spray. Let's give this a go. And I'm one of those people, I like the notes. I like to understand exactly what's in a fragrance, but I also just want to know if I like the smell of it. And there's nothing better than just spraying the thing, right? So here we go. Always get good atomizers, Roja. So let's have a look at this. Oh, that is beautiful. So the first notes is that citrus and that mint combination, and just a really nice richness, but not in an overpowering way at all. That is beautiful. I'm going to spray that on my skin because I actually didn't spray anything today knowing I was doing this. I'm going to spray it here and let that dry down a little bit. Yeah, I am such a fan of this brand. Let's see what we've got here. So on the skin, just a beautiful, fresh, citrusy, mint, classy combination. That is a fragrance that you could wear at work. You could walk down on the boardwalk with that. You could wear it in a city on a spring or summer day. I could imagine walking down the Burlington Arcade with this fragrance on, because it would, the CIs, the projection of this is going to be really nice and punchy. Oh, just super classy. I'm so pleased I've got this and I own this in my collection. Now look, these are not cheap fragrances. I picked it up on a deal from Notino, and when you're buying fragrances and building your collection, you definitely want to be checking the discounted site. Sometimes you just have to go to an authorized dealer or the Roja Boutique or something like that. But even in department stores, they do run promotions once in a while, and I'm glad I got this with a bit of a saving. So let's move in to this next brand, L'Absolu. So this brand is an Italian house, and they are a newish brand that they've only just launched in the last year or so. They've got a large collection, hundreds of different fragrances. And when I visited them, I was checking out all the different actual notes, the raw ingredients. They created a really special experience for us all. And this first one is number 205, Myrrh or Myrrh. This is an ingredient. I don't have a fragrance with this in my collection at the moment, hence why I went for it. And you can see beautiful packaging, really impressive. So I'm going to remove some of these and then let's get into this thing. So take this sleeve off here, and it comes in its nice vertical box, and inside we have the bottle. It's really, really nice. So there we go. So let's get the card out and give this one a spray. Yeah. So this has got, the myrrh is prominent. It's got that incense vibe to it. Actually reminds me a bit of Xerjoff Zafiro, almost like you can imagine walking through the streets in a religious city with the bells ringing, maybe kind of 7 o'clock at night, the light dropping. Love it. Love that. I would actually like to do a test with this alongside Xerjoff Zafiro, because I think that the incense, the myrrh in it, definitely reminds me of that fragrance, but it's its own thing. I'm going to spray this on skin later, and I'll do another review of these L'Absolu beauties. But first impressions are excellent with this fragrance. And then I also picked up these other two in smaller bottles. The first one is patchouli, absolutely love patchouli, and the second one is ambergris or ambra grigia. So let's get into these two. So starting with the patchouli, take these beautiful sleeves and labels off. It's a mini version, makes sense. And they come in these little bottles. How cute. So let's give this one a spray. So let's see what this is all about. Very cool, cute little bottle. Patchouli is used in a lot of different fragrances, and it can smell completely different, from really, really earthy, like the Theodoros Calatinis that I have, to really rich and warm, like the Eccentric Molecules patchouli. This one has a warmth, also sort of like a mild medicinal quality, and I remember that when I smelt it in person in the lab, and I love that. So this patchouli fragrance goes right into the collection, and I'm going to do a patchouli catwalk at some point soon to show you where to go with patchouli fragrances. So let's get into the next one, or the last one, the ambergris. Now ambergris is a very, very strange ingredient. You should Google ambergris. Basically whales, I'm going to say vomit, and it has a really beautiful, you won't believe this, but a sort of soapy, calming quality to it. And when you get fragrance with ambergris in, they tend to have that nice calming, warming effect. Let's see if this is as good as I remember. So let's get into this fragrance. Take this beautiful cap off. And again, I want to just say as well, the prices for this, the larger bottles are 120 ml, made in Milano, in Milan. So you get a lot in this. These smaller ones are 20 ml, and they are around about 65 euros. So you can enjoy these fragrances, high quality niche fragrances at that price point. And that's the great thing. You don't have to be spending hundreds of euros on fragrances. You're paying for the brand. Yes, I am a huge fan of Roja, and I'm a sucker for this brand, but you can still get high quality for lower prices if you take your time and if you look around and purchase in that way. Okay, so let's give this ambergris fragrance a go. Lovely box again, and this one's in the blue. And let's give this one a blast. Can smell that already. Yeah, beautiful. There is a sort of marine-like but very calming quality to this. There's a soapiness to it. It makes you feel super clean and like you're sitting on a terrace overlooking a beautiful Mediterranean view or something like that, but not citrusy. It's not the same as the Roja, where it's got the citrus top notes. There's a lightness to this. Very, very, I love this fragrance. So along with the patchouli and this myrrh, I've got a nice little L'Absolu haul, and I will do a more detailed review on this one and the Roja very, very soon. So some great unboxings there. I'm enjoying this stuff. I hope you like this. What do you think of those fragrances so far? Make sure you drop me a comment. What's your favorite Roja fragrance, and which brand do you love the most? Really interested to know as we go on this journey together. Now, the next update is travel. I am a sucker for traveling. I love being in different environments. I get a lot of inspiration from both city environments and rural environments and beach environments. I live by the beach here in Barcelona, so I'm very, very fortunate that I get a lot of beach vibes. And as it's heating up here, I can almost feel like that Roja fragrance and some of those citrusy fragrances coming out for the next few months. But I do love going to cities. And this year I've been to Lisbon, I've been to Milan, I've been to London, been to more as well, I think. Anyway, next month I am heading to Geneva in Switzerland for the Watches and Wonders and the Time for Watches expos. So every year, nearly every year anyway, I head to Geneva for Watches and Wonders when the brands launch their new novelties or their new watches. And that is an occasion, my word, they spend some money on their stands. Their stands are like cities. And I've seen it where people have been queuing hundreds of meters to just see the new Rolex Daytona through a pane of glass, let alone try it on and wear the thing. You can't do that. But it's great to see that, and I have some friends in those networks. It'll be good to catch up with them. And I'm going to go to the Time for Watches, which is where some of the smaller brands exhibit. So Watches and Wonders, you've got Cartier, Rolex, Vacheron Constantin, Lange & Söhne, Tag Heuer, that kind of thing. The big brands. Time for Watches, you've got more of the independent watchmakers there. And I actually really enjoy that because you see some of the amazing work that's going on. And I suppose herein lies the difference with watch collecting versus fragrance collecting. Because the thing is, some of these watches cost tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of pounds, even more. And you're just not going to be buying them every day of the week, right? I'm not at that level to be buying that kind of stuff at all. I can admire them and appreciate them as pieces of art. But the watch game is different from a collector's perspective because, like I say, you're buying less frequently, most people are anyway, than you are, say, buying a fragrance like this for 60 or 70 euros. So the chase is what it's all about. Understanding the brand, understanding the story, understanding the particular watch, wearing that watch, trying on a few different types of it. Sometimes you can try on the same watch in 5 different locations and it does feel different and it makes a difference. When I bought this watch, I tried on a few and just not enjoyed them. They were too bulky, too stiff. You get the one piece that feels incredible and you're sort of like, yep, that's the one. So I found that with this piece, but that's the difference with watch collecting. With fragrance collecting, you sometimes you want to complete the collection, you want to get deeper into a brand. Other times you just like the fragrance. And I think there's different stages you go through of when you first discover a brand to getting deeper into it, to understanding what the perfumer's intentions were with that fragrance, and you want to then go on the journey with them like an artist. It's olfactive art in that way. And then watches, it is more about that chase. And over time, you then acquire a piece here, a piece there. Fragrances, it's much easier to go crazy and order massive hauls. Probably makes for good unboxing videos. The watches is definitely more about courtship and making decisions over longer periods of time, purely because of the costs of these things. And you do have to think about the resale value of the watches, unless you're absolutely loaded, of course. But for me, I absolutely do think about that resale and that investment value, not because I want it to go up, and I'm buying it for that, but more because I want to enjoy it, but then be able to trade it or move on in due course. You've got to have half an eye on that. It's a little bit silly to not do, in my opinion. Definitely buy what you like, but have an appreciation of value retention so that you can move it on, because what you like today might not be what you like tomorrow. It's just a simple fact. We do change our minds, don't we? Last thing I want to cover today is this little bit of a story time. And it ends with a cool quote. So my friend in Dubai has a colleague in business. He's in the marketing and events management space. And his boss, she has a process she goes through when somebody pitches her with a new idea. So they present to her, they give her some slides, and her phrase that she gives them at the end of that is very simply, so what, now what? So what, now what? And what she's saying to them is, brilliant, I love all of this you've done, but what's next? And when I was talking to my friend about this, we sort of adapted this into what it could mean for us. And I love this phrase, these 4 letters, SWNW, so what, now what? Because I find it brutally humbling. It's almost publicly calling yourself out. Like, no matter where you're at in your life, if you are having a great time and smashing it, so what, now what? If you're struggling with things, so what, now what? It is in your control as long as you make that decision to take control. And so for me, when I find myself down in the dumps every now and again, I come back to that quote, so what, now what? What do I need to do to change that? What's next? So what, now what? Maybe you can use that too. Just a little story to end this video. And that pretty much wraps things up for another updates video, time and scent updates. I hope you've enjoyed that. Lots going on, lots of unboxings. And coming up, I've got more travel vlogs, I've got more reviews, watch content, fragrance content. So make sure you subscribe to the video and hit the bell so you're notified of new videos when they come up. And give me a thumbs up and give me a comment on what you've enjoyed about this video, which was your favorite fragrance, which is your favorite city, all of that kind of stuff. Remember, we're going on this journey together. So let's have some fun along the way. See you in the next video.